All right, we're on, you said 7?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So in 2009, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported a surge in volunteerism. At this time, there were reported 63,361 volunteers in the US. The pie chart below shows the different categories in which these people volunteered. There's a bunch of stuff. Find the number of people who volunteered in a social capacity. Round your answer to the nearest whole number. Okay, tell me your thoughts here.
Okay, the total amount of volunteers, I took 63,661 and multiplied it by the percentage, the social percentage, which was 13.90. I got 880,718.
880,000.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the thing that flagged that on me is, again, or flagged my curiosity, is we have this many people total, right?
Right.
This right here is already too many.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Which, like I said, is not. I'm not doing this as a call out of like, haha, I got you. It's a matter of saying, like, I'm giving you insight into my brain for like how I use these stories as they go. Because what we're imagining is that all of these people, I literally picked them up, shook them around in my hands, and I threw them at this circle, and landed in each category. So I'm using up all of them, depending on where they're organized in this circular room.
Right. Okay.
So now that we know it's too big, if we go searching for how we set it up, do you have an idea of how we could set it up differently? Like, where did we make it too big?
Multiplying.
It could possibly be the multiplying. I mean, I'm thinking you would agree, like this is pretty locked in as being true. That's what we're starting with, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So maybe the multiplying. Do we feel good about the 1390?
Oh, found your answer to the nearest home. I thought so, but I'm not so sure anymore.
Okay, so that one might be another thing. So if I was going to go looking back through here, one thing I noticed is that the 1390, as it shows in the problem, has a percentage symbol.
Yeah.
So I think we should include that directly because it's part of that story.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, if you tried to do that multiplication, we're just going to kind of like troubleshoot this piece by piece. If you tried to do that multiplication, how would we do 63,000 times a percent? Like, how do we do the percent part?
You have to move the decimal some kind of way.
Okay, good. Let's try. If we don't remember which way, let's just try some things. I'm a big fan of like trying and correcting and then throwing away the scratch paper so that nobody knows what I did. Right? Like I just do things and then no one needs to know how many times I guessed because I got there. And that's all that matters.
As long as you got there.
So if I put this here, if I move the decimal this way, okay, then that would be this, right?
Right. That would make it even bigger.
And so we know that that's not the right way to move it. So what should we do instead?
Move it to the left.
We should move it to the left. Okay, so let's do that. So I'll put it right here and I'll get rid of the percentage symbol. Try that out.
Okay, I'm gonna have to use the calculator. That one's 88,071.
So did it work?
Yeah, it made a little bit.
Closer.
But is this that's what I was gonna say. Is it still too big from okay, so maybe move the decimal again.
Okay, so let's put it here.
8,807.
8,807. Does that look reasonable?
Yeah, it looks more reasonable than what I originally had.
Okay. Now, once we have that, again, like we don't want guess and check or it looks pretty good to be like what we're falling back on, but it is something to help us out when you're talking test. I'm trying to help you with like test anxiety, right? Like if you're really locked in, don't worry about just like doing, give me thoughts. And that was a good thought, which was like, okay, we're going to try some things. I might not remember exactly why this works, but I know the other thing is more wrong than this. Right. So when you're doing this one now, when I can give you some information as to why that's true. And the reason why that's true is because what percent means is out of 100. That's what percent means. 100% is the whole thing. Percent therefore means out of that whole thing. So if we're talking 13.90, if we say out of 100, the way that we put that down on paper is we say divide by 100. It's what gets us a fraction. It's what gets us a piece, a part.
Okay.
So now if you needed to, if you put it in your calculator, try doing 13.90, do that divided by 100. Tell me what you get.
You get the 0.139.
That's exactly it. So if I was going to do you, which here's how I usually take notes, is I usually have some notes where I'm just like figuring it out. And then I have notes that make it pretty. And off to the side, I have notes that say where I made my mistake, because people skip that. I don't like, and it's one of the most valuable things to do is you write yourself notes that say like, hey, I make mistakes during this part. Because then when you study, you go, oh, that's right. I should make sure I don't make mistakes during that. Like people forget that they just try to do the right stuff without focusing on some of the trip hazards along the way. So what I would do on your pretty stuff is I would say, let's start with the 63,361. And let's write it down exactly as we started with that we knew was making sense. We're going to pull everything exact, just like that, with a percentage sign included. Then what I would do on the next line down is I don't want to change the meaning because I'm already truthful, right? Just like the deductive reasoning. I started with something that has to be true. I'm not going to make that maybe true. I'm going to keep it has to be true. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to take that percent and I'm going to make it look different, but it means the same thing. So in what I do here is I say, okay, I know that percent means out of 100. So I'm going to write out of 100.
Okay.
And then underneath that, that's where I say, okay, I can do all that in my calculator. Let's make sure I put it down on the paper in case someone's confused how I did it. So do that in your calculator and it comes out as whatever it came out, 8,000-ish, right?
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
So I like everything. And then you can, like I said, off to the side, right? You put a little note to yourself that says like, hey, make sure you include the percent symbol. Because if you leave that off, you will get something too big. And then you can also make another note that says, if you get something too big, check to see if you included the percent symbol, right? You give yourself a lot of ways of going back and forth to help course correct.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. I did have a huge number at the beginning.
No, totally fine. Like I said, it's good that it flagged and that you didn't just go like, well, I did stuff. Like some people, they're just like numbers on the paper. So I'm done with homework.
No, I can't be like that. I need to know. Okay, I got that now.